There's no other questions, and I'll introduce the motion. I have a motion moved by Carol Lawrence and seconded by David Mollison. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby approves the Durham Library Building Committee to expend up to $10,000 for site investigations for 2 alternative site locations for the Durham Library to be funded from the municipality's library reserve. Any questions on the motion? Mark, Councillor Rapke.
Sorry, I probably didn't read the meeting. I think I missed a meeting or two. But so should we be spending money just on, like, what's the point of spending the money now then? Like, shouldn't we do that if there's a selection of a site, or like, is it a wise way to spend the money? That's, I guess, my question, if we're just looking at 2 sites.
These were the 2 sites that were alternately we discussed at the last committee of the whole meeting, I believe. And there's been a number of areas discussed, and we kind of come down with 2 that if they were going to do any further investigation, one, there was some indication that Saugeen Valley, the conservation would have some concerns with it being close to the river, and the second one was a site over near the arena that is in the old railroad lands, and before we went too far on that, it was just to investigate the soil testing and environmental issues. So it's not, okay? Okay, any other questions or comments on the motion? Well, absolutely. And investigating, I guess, Mark, further to that, doing a soils test on that and whatnot, if it was put up for sale, it could, you know, for industrial and or commercial, whatever uses we were looking, because it's municipally owned property, we would have some of the lead work done on that. So it's not money that's just gone. We need to know that anyways, regardless, I believe. So let them do it. Okay? Nothing else? I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? Declare that carried. All right. Now Carrie has number 3 here. I jumped that one. This one is the Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund, or the Build Canada Fund Small Communities Fund. At the last meeting, we threw out a couple of ideas on projects that we may apply for. Certainly a couple of other ones. We need the expression of interest, needs to be put in by the 19th of September, this Friday. So, and that's just the expression to see whether it goes through the first sieve, I guess, or however they're going to process those ones and filter them out to get further into the further details. Larry, do you have any further comments on what Kerry has in front of us here?
I do, Your Worship. There is one additional item that has come to light, which I included in my report, which unfortunately is later on the agenda, but since it was with the agenda, Council would be familiar with it. I've been contacted by one of our neighbouring communities, that being the Municipality of Southgate, in regards to a potential joint venture to look at bringing natural gas and high-speed connectivity to West Grey. It was felt that it's a fairly significant project and probably needs some significant dollars to win it, but since this is an expression of interest, and since one of the caveats in regards to bridge structures, since we left it as a bridge, that it requires a minimum daily traffic flow of 3,000 vehicles per day, that it might be more prudent to look at something along the lines of a joint venture in regards to bringing natural gas, which would service the south end of the municipality, going towards Ayton and Neustadt, to service that area, and the potential of piping in conduit so that when fiber does come to the area, they'll just have to pull the wires through the conduit. And it's of interest. It's felt that based on initial discussion with the CAO, has received approval from his council to look at it in Southgate, and he's wondering if we have interest just to put an expression forward at this point in time to look at the potential of bringing both natural gas and high-speed connectivity to areas of West Grey, Ayton and Neustadt for gas and Durham for fiber. So I put that out there. Initial estimates based on some very preliminary research and discussions with Union Gas are we're looking probably about $50 per meter to run that in our area, as well as they need what is called a phase down plant to be installed, because it's a high pressure line that runs runs up Highway 6. There'd have to be a phase down plant to get that pressure down to be able to accommodate, switch it into another series of piping, and that estimate is approximately $150,000 just for that building alone, to put that building in, and then to put the pipe in the ground, it's roughly $50 per meter. So based on rudimentary GIS and actually driving the routes, we're looking at going from County Road 9 to Ayton is approximately 12 kilometers, and then from Ayton to Neustadt is another 9 kilometers. So we're looking at potentially 21 kilometers worth of piping, which roughly $50 per meter would come out to slightly over $1 million. Potential is that we get a public-private partnership going with that with the gas supplier, provided the demand was there. So it's just at this point in time, as I've indicated, I just was made aware of it last week. We discussed it, and the potential is there, and I'm wondering if council would consider that as an expression of interest for the BCF, SCF funding, as opposed to a bridge, which we would have difficulty accommodating the requirements of that. Your Worship, I'm open for questions. Should there be any?
So that kind of lays it out on the gas proposal. Is there any questions? Bev?
Would it be a joint application?
That is correct. We'd worked together with Southgate, and it was felt at the ministry level that potentially a joint venture would be viewed upon much more favorable than just a single.
Certainly there's a number of bridges out there that Ken recognizes that we may need work done on, may need replacing in the next few years, but that one threshold, the threshold there is 3,000 vehicles a day. When we come down to it, we found in the municipality we really just have one, which is the main Garifraxa Street Bridge in Durham that's under the connecting link. We know that we don't own it quite yet, but we think we may own it at some point in time. But Ken, go ahead. You got any other comments?
The Ontario plan would allow for a rural bridge, but the BCF would not. I believe the Ontario plan is more lenient on their what's required for a rural bridge, but certainly the one with the 3,000 vehicles per day, we wouldn't be eligible for any bridge in West Grey. Keep going back and forth.
Moving on. Carol.
Well, this moves the Durham Well 2A then to that reduced funding. I'm just wondering, what did we apply for? Which program did we apply for before for the Durham Well?
What grant?
Yeah, I thought we passed that at the last meeting, the OCIF.
And we thought we might have a good chance at it, but I'm wondering if like we're suggesting here that we change it to the other, like apply under the other one? And just wondering if that,
Am I missing something?
Well, it says that, yeah, and now we would need to apply for Durham Well A under the BCF SCF at the reduced 2/3 funding level, if this is a preferred project. So on the bottom there,
The bottom paragraph.
No, yeah, what she's suggesting, and that's what Ken mentioned, is the bridge project. We'd have to flip them if we wanted a bridge project. If, okay, if we want to go with the gas project, we would state, yeah, that's what Carrie had before, and this has kind of come up over the last 2 or 3 days. She had her report done before. That's why you don't see the gas part, and that's why it's in Larry's report. So we would keep the Durham well under the OCIF and apply for, if we were going joint with the Southgate, that's what we're being asked here today, going with a partnership with Southgate to get natural gas to the residents. And Ken, correct me if I'm wrong, but you did some kind of driving today and doing some counting, and you said there between Highway 6 and Ayton, if it was on the county road, we'd have around 90 residents that it would go by, or
believe-
60? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, between Ayton and Highway 6, I believe there was 49.
Okay.
And then between Ayton and Newstead, there was another 40.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
okay.
I think that was, yeah.
Yeah, so about 90 residents between the two, other than being... Absolutely, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, on top of the Ayton and Newstead, the villages, you would have another 90 between the two, where just along the roadway. Larry, do you have any more?
I'm just going to add that there is some rather large agricultural operations that may be interested in taking it, but we haven't gotten to the stage where we've spoken to them in regards to their anticipation or the usage that they would be able to accommodate, which would potentially sweeten the pot for either Enbridge or for Union Gas, whichever company it was that would be able to look at servicing this area. So that is there too, but we estimated there was probably the 90 households on the stretch of highway, but another potentially 500 homes to 550 homes in the two rural municipalities as well.
John? Deputy Mayor
Well,
Bill?
Mr. Mayor, everyone here, I think, knows that we have some industrial land in Newstead. I think if we look real close, there's some industrial land on County Road 9 from between Highway 6 and the first corner, the old Watcha Farms property. If there was natural gas running by these properties, I think you'd see a lot of action on them pretty quick. I really do, because that's what's holding them up. And Ken, correct me if I'm wrong, is there about 400 households in Newstead? Not that. 250. Kevin says 250
Yeah, I would think there's approximately 500, so you're,
between the two of them.
yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, that in its entirety, I think, I would not want to turn this opportunity down to partner with Southgate and go ahead and try to get this done, because I think it would speak volumes about what we envision not only West Grey to look like, but the area. And I think if we can get some natural gas and that, obviously fiber, when it comes, we're not going to be able to push that along, but you know, internet's changing every day also as far as that goes. So I think we absolutely should push this one.
Okay. Councillor Eccles. John?
There's also a plan of subdivision in the village of Newstead that I'm sure would like to see this go forward as well. I have a question for Larry. What's Southgate get out of this if it's all going to Newstead?
The CEO from Southgate was mentioning that it would go down and service the Holstein area, and there's a number of large agricultural operations there. There's a number of Mennonite operations in the area that are interested. They've already taken the time to speak with those folks, or they've had a little bit more lead time than we have. At this point in time, I'm sure there's very significant interest, but it would just be contacting those individuals and pulling all that information together, which we have not had the opportunity to do at this point in time. Oh, and just one more point. This is an expression of interest. This does not commit $1 million in expenses. This is just an expression of interest. We would definitely need more concrete information, and we'd also need the approval from the ministry before we went ahead and expended that kind of money, Your Worship. So I just wanted to point that out as well.
Bev? Councillor Cutting?
I understand that concept, but when would be the next intake to apply for some sort of funding for these bridges? Because again, bridges are, you know, so much money and we have so many of them.
I think this program runs for 3 years, so there's going to be another round probably next year, Bev, so
In March, like
I don't know what exactly it is, but I think it's,
just once a year intake?
I think so. But there will be another round. We can work at other alternative projects.
And are we, sorry, do you have a question, Don? Go ahead.
You mentioned about the public partnerships. Does that mean that we will get money back when they start running Union Gas or natural gas in this partnership? If we invest $1 million in this partnership, Union Gas can sell gas to a customer, do we get a percentage of that profit back?
It would be presumptuous for me to say yes to that type of approach. My approach to it would, a public-private partnership would be to get investment from them up front to assist us in covering our portion of the costs, along with whatever funding we could get from the provincial and federal levels of government. So it'd become like a triple P, if you will, public-private partnership, meaning public money would be into it and there'd be private money go into it as well in order to look at this potential expansion into, at this point, an unserviced area.
So we're going to be subsidizing private companies with taxpayers' dollars, and they're going to let the bridges fall apart. It really makes a lot of sense to me.
John? Councillor Eccles, go ahead.
I think this is an opportunity for economic development at its best. We not only build houses, build farms, build industry, broaden the tax base to bring more business and more people into West Grey. I think this is a wonderful idea, and we should be looking at it to see how we go forward.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Correct me if I'm wrong, Larry or Ken, you both looked at this. There's a certain component of this funding for the small municipalities, small rural municipalities. Part of it is on a lottery basis, but part of it is there is going to be a formula come out on a sustainable, I think it's about half of it, 50 million a year, to all those municipalities that are under 100,000. We haven't seen what the formula is or what West Grey will be getting out of that portion of it, but there's a guaranteed portion, am I correct?
It's my understanding.
Looking at you, Larry.
It's my understanding, based on the comments that we received at AMO, and also from the correspondence that we received at this point in time, that there will be a formula put in where there will be sustainable flow of infrastructure dollars coming to municipalities over the next, I believe it's 10-year commitment that's been made by both levels of government. We don't know what that percentage is, but I believe, as you indicated, it's a $20 or $25 million allocation has been made for the Small Communities Fund, which is for populations under the threshold of 100,000. So that money will be there and will be available for the foreseeable future for the next 10-year period. The actual formula, we do not know exactly what the amount will be at this point in time. We've not seen that formula. It's only been the carrot that's been dangled, so we will certainly go after our portion and potentially a wee bit more if we can. Your Worship.
Thanks, Larry. Okay. There's no other information questions. I have a motion. Have it moved by John A. Bell and seconded by Rob Thompson. Be resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby approves the submission of a grant application under the Build Canada Fund Small Communities Fund, BCF, SCF, program for the expansion of natural gas and broadband joint project with the Township of Southgate, combined provincial federal funding level of 2/3. So it goes back to one of those provinces throwing in a third, federal government throwing in a third, and the other third comes from the two partners on this and or private investment. John?
This is also one of the major topics being tackled, not only by the Western Wardens Caucus, but also SWIA and Larry, you know more about that than I do, but I do know that this is what they are pushing along as far as wanting to get dollars invested in southwestern Ontario to enhance the broadband. And there's more good things to come as far as that goes because it's being heavily lobbied. So I believe they're going to get something done.
Councillor Lawrence?
I request a recorded vote, please.
Absolutely. Any other question? Don?
Is the amount of $1 million going in on the application? Is that what the amount is? So our share would be,
330.
no, we're splitting with Southgate, right?
Oh,
You about 100, if,
165.
you about 165, give or take. I think I heard Councillor Eccles say that, depending on other private investment as well, too.
And that money is going to be given to, what's the project? What is the project? The project is to give the money to Union Gas and some broadband company to run conduit and piping, or?
No, the project would be to assist either Union Gas, Enbridge, or other, it's not specific to Union Gas, to any of the suppliers that would like to come on to this type of project, but it also would put in conduit while the work was being done, that the conduit would be there, whether it be Wightman, whether it be Bell, whether it be the SWIA and or the Western Wardens Consortium and then that conduit would be there to go from the main. So you'd have the conduit in, then all it is a matter of pushing the fiber optic through the conduit that's in place. Okay, Bev.
At
Councillor
this
Cunn.
point, then, we are just putting in
Expression.
an expression of interest, and these details can all be worked out if something comes up.
Yes.
Okay, because there's a lot more to look into for this, for sure.
Oh.
So, okay, as long as that's what we're doing
Yeah.
here, all right?
Larry? Comment.
Point of clarification, Your Worship, the $1 million quote or number that I put out was a very cursory grant, but that's just for the portion in West Grey. The portion in Southgate is, I believe, approximately 20 kilometers long, so they're looking at potential investment of $1 million as well. Plus, we would share the cost of this phase-down plant, which would be over and above that. So we're looking at significant investment over a period of time, and we believe that with the interest that's out there in the generation and the potential for the private investment into this program as well, that we would do the best we can at leveraging the resources that we put into it with the money from the federal and provincial levels of government and potentially the private sector as well.
Thank you, Larry. Bev?
And you mentioned 2 companies, but those companies are optional, correct? Or are they the ones that are going to be used? Enbridge and...
Your Worship, through you to Councillor Cutting, the discussions with those companies have been done by the CIO from Southgate, and he's relayed that information to me, so it's really third-hand information for me to pass along. He didn't give me a copy of the report that he did submit to Council, and he did admit that it was Union Gas and potentially Enbridge that may be interested in this area. I'm not sure if they have different areas where they're responsible for, not within the municipality or within the province, but those are the 2 companies he did mention during our conversation. And he has been speaking with Union Gas.
Okay. Mark, I ask you to take the vote, please.
Deputy Mayor Bell,
Yes.
Councillor Cutting,
Yes.
Councillor Eccles,
Yes.
Mayor Eccles,
Yes.
Councillor Lawrence,
Yes.
Councillor Marshall, Councillor Mollison,
Yes.
Councillor Rapke,
Yes.
Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Okay, declare that carried, 8-1. Okay. And then further on carry, there is a correspondence there on the councillor enumeration, the monthly report there. If you have any questions for Carrie, find her when she comes back.
Can I go find her now?
the reception won't be well, I don't think, if you try. Wish her the best of luck and speedy recovery. On staff reports, we usually have one for Public Works, but Ken's been doing a few things. Is there anything verbal update you want to give us, Ken, or do you want to comment on the IMOS?
If there's any questions.
I mean, we've got a question on the bylaw. I'm just, for your time to get home to Markdale, I was just, to the outskirts of Markdale.
That's not a problem, but yeah, we do have the IMOS contract. That's the winter maintenance with through the Miller Group or IMOS to maintain the connecting link in Durham. I believe it's a 2-year program this time, and it's gone up about $460, I believe, from last year. Also, we've had a lot of trucks moving up and down the roads in the last couple of weeks, and they're out of Normanby and Bennick, but they're moved into, or sorry, out of Normanby and Glenelg, but they moved into Bennick with the maintenance gravel, and that should be completed this week. The sand sheds are all full. The brusher is continuing to work in West Gray. He's moved into Bennick. I believe he's working on Side Road 12 today, just west of Highway 6. He'll be in there, and he'll be here for the rest of the week and working through Bennick. So he's done a very good job, and he's covered a lot of ground, so it's worked out well.
Okay, any questions on the bylaw? As we said, just for 24-hour service, basically it's on that Durham Hill. From the bridge south, it's not that bad for us, but doing that Durham Hill is one that, I'd like somebody else to have the responsibility for that 24 hours a day. Okay, all right, thanks, Ken. Clerk's report.
Councillor Mollison.
Oh, sorry, Dave. Sorry, Councillor Mollison.
Ken, to sign the Priceville, who's responsible for that? Us or the county, because it's on a county road? The West Gray sign?
We're responsible for paying for the sign, and they're responsible for putting it up.
Have we told them to get the lead out?
No, it's been stolen twice. I'm just, I guess, will we try it again?
Yeah, I think maybe this time we should put some sort of a explosive device on whoever touches it. I'm sure we can use screws, get one time in and out, but I mean, it's, even the posts are gone, the same as the last or time before.
Yeah, I believe that's probably what's happened, is they just took post and sign and all this time.
We'll put a sign on, if you need post, call 369-2200 and we'll deliver them. Leave the sign alone, okay.
In saying that, if I could, just about the signs, I don't know whether anybody noticed the signs out here, Allen Park. The county has gone ahead with their sign identification, and they've put new entrance signs up to all the recognized villages and urban centers in Grey County. They've started that, and as I said, coming across 4. Allen Park and Durham have been done. I think Varney was done this week as well too, or sorry, not this week, last week. So they've been putting those new signs up to refresh them.
The cheap
But,
ones.
they are of MTO quality and whatnot, the blue and white. I'll leave it at that, Dave. Bev, sorry.
Is a Municipality of West Gray blue highway sign at Priceville? I'm wondering if we should just leave it alone, because those signs are very expensive. We're trying to, I would rather put a sign somewhere else, because we still have a couple of spots where we could, that you enter into West Gray where we don't have the really nice signs. I would rather see actually those signs go somewhere else when it's been stolen twice. It's ridiculous. There is a Municipality of West Gray sign there, so.
Dave?
If we're doing that, take the sign down that says Glen Elk Township. He's got a little wee banner sign this big for West Gray. The biggest one says Glen Elk Township. If we're gonna put another sign in, give it the hook. And just leave the little wee dinky banner sign over top. I know we try the different areas, but it is West Gray. It's not Glen Elk Township or the town of Durham. It's the former. So I would like to see, if we're gonna do as Bev suggests, get rid of the Glen Elk sign.
Well, let us take a look at what the county's doing out there and going forward with that. There are a couple of them. I do recognize, Dave, there are a couple of signs still out there that indicate that, so we'll see what we can, how we can negotiate that along. Okay. That's it. Ken, thank you very much. Trail of Blazers, Clerk's report. First one was a letter that's been submitted to us by the Durham and District Trailblazers, the Snowmobile Club, and their request to use, I guess, might as well say it, to open Park Street for trail use. We've met with, I believe, Larry and myself. Mark was there as well too. Staff met with the group, and this is their request to be able to use the an access into Durham to connect with some of the businesses that are supported by that tourism activity. And maybe it can be used for other for seasonal activity beyond that. Carol. And then
Thanks. Have you personally been back here? Like, can you see that road there?
I've been personally back there. It was a couple of years ago, and yes, the pit owner has used it. You can go back almost halfway through the pit. The only problem is there's a bit of a ditch, and we may have put a culvert or something back in that part of it. But no, it's visible, but I wouldn't say it's marked.
Is it marked?
No.
Like, my concern would be that they get off that road, and there's a lot of dangers back there. There's test holes and whatever. And I just wonder if there's any liability on the municipality's part if we allow that without it being in some kind of shape that, you know, that it's safe for them to go on there.
I'm going to ask Rob about that. He's been doing some work on other four-season options.
And actually at our last ATV meeting last week, it was suggested, and our president, who operates a bulldozer and so on, is going to check and see if his boss would allow him to use the bulldozer, and then we get permission from the municipality and level some of these areas flat so that there's no hazard to go through there. So they're willing to work together, both the ATV club and the snowmobile club, and use it as more or less a I guess you call it multi-trail system, multi-use, because it is a road allowance, and develop it so it's safe for everyone. And at that point, but yeah, I've been through there many times, and you can go through it. There's dips and dives, but they could be leveled out quite easily if we can get the owner of the bulldozer to allow the operation of it. We can get that leveled out with permission.
But the municipality would have to, I mean, I don't know if that's municipal road. Ken would have to oversee it or give permission or something.
And that's what I'm saying, with permission and observation from Ken.
Coordinate through staff, I think. And the biggest thing is the snowmobile club has, had indicated to us as well too, the Trailblazers, that they would put, I guess, for another term, skin in the game as well too, about trying to identify where it is and get it as up to a standard. It is an unopened road allowance, but the road allowance is there. So certainly wouldn't be for automotive or transportation type traffic. It would be just for this type of use that we allow a couple of other ones in the municipality as well too.
I guess that's my concern, because that was just sort of through the pit. you know, there was never a
Right.
road constructed there.
No,
But-
it was surveyed at one point in time. We know that. We have the survey here, but that was done in 1981. So we know that those iron stakes are not supposed to be removed. It's illegal, but sometimes they just disappear. Something like road signs, but they're just wood. Bev?
The snowmobile clubs, and I don't know about the ATV, but I know that they quite often will trail mark with markers. Maybe that's something that we should talk to them about as well, because that should definitely be trail marked down there.
Oh, I think absolutely.
Talking about it?
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, yeah, they do
Go ahead,
that. Both clubs do mark their trails and they do sign them with the regulatory signs that they're required from OFATV and the Snowmobile Federation. So those would be all marked, and any open pit areas would be taped off with caution tape and so on, or fencing. And chances are, if it was allowed, then the U-shaped gates is what the county has, similar to what the county has put in, would probably be installed
But it would
also.
also be able to be used by walkers and
Walkers, horseback
skiers
riders,
and-
skiers,
okay.
snowshoers,
Yeah.
no motorized vehicles other than ATVs and snowmobiles, yeah. No cars, trucks.
No horses.
No. I thought you'd throw that at horses.
John?
Well, Rob kind of explained what I was going to say. Like, yeah, I don't see any reason why walkers would be able to use this, and all people could enjoy this. Obviously, it's municipal land. Question, Ken, this would be 66 feet wide?
Yes, I believe it is.
Yeah, okay. So there's lots of room for everybody, and the key is the marking of it, and I think it could work great. Snowmobile club and the ATV club, well, a lot of them are the same people, and so they'll be able to get along with that. And I think that this would bode well for a little bit of economic development in the south end of Durham too. So I think this would be a good thing.
Depending on when the snow comes, maybe they'll be able to do some of their Christmas shopping.
Good point. Good point.
Okay? Any other discussion? I have a motion moved by Dave Molson and second by Mark Rapke. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby approves the request from the Durham and District Trailblazers, Inc. to permit their club to utilize the unopened road allowance known as Park Street, Durham, more particularly identified as Part 1, Plan 17R 1400 for snowmobile trail purposes.
And ATV?
All I've got is snowmobile trail purposes.
Audi Trail?
Well, this one's for the Durham and District Trailblazers. I don't think that they're looking for anything other than snowmobiles. So if it was going to be expanded, we can identify that, yeah, and go forward with it.
Perfect, okay.
So this will be just for the snowmobiles at this point in time? Okay? Don, question?
It was commented to me that if they were given permission, that they might have a surveyor in their club that would come out and locate the survey bars at their cost, and then we'd know where they were for future reference.
Yep, you're correct on that. They're very willing to help out any way possible here. Okay? Any other questions or comments on the motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That one's carried. Okay, that's it, Mark? Oh, yeah, you can give it that. Anything further, Mark? Just
I think
verbal?
I'll just note for council's information that because there are at least 75% of the outgoing council that may be elected on the new council, that this council is not lame duck. So they can continue business as usual.
Okay. Questions? Councillor Eccles?
Could you run that by me one more time, please?
Okay. Lame duck is based, if there's at least an opportunity or a possibility that 75% of the outgoing council may become returned as the new council, then you are not in a lame duck position. So in other words, there are 7 members of council, 1 mayor, 1 deputy mayor, 5 councillors that have submitted nomination papers and are certified. Therefore, and there's going to be 7 in the new council, mayor, deputy mayor, and 5 councillor. So therefore, there is a possibility that at least 75% of the new council may be comprised of the outgoing council.
Is that slow enough for you, Councillor Eccles? Thank you. What other reports do we have? And you can speed this one up, Mark.
And I can just note, in terms of elections, obviously there's an election for mayor, deputy mayor, councillor. There's also an election for a French public school trustee. The English public and English separate school trustees have been acclaimed. So Robin Garvey-Wiseman has been acclaimed as the English separate school trustee for West Grey, Hanover, Grey Highlands, and Southgate. And Ron Motts is returning after a hiatus as the English public school trustee for West Grey and Hanover. Interestingly, the French separate school trustee, they weren't able to garner a candidate for a large region, so they have had to extend the nomination period to September 17th. At that time, if there's still no at least one candidate that submitted nomination papers, then the new board would then basically appoint a member for this large area.
And it is large. It is Grey, Bruce, Wellington, Oxford, or Perth, Oxford. It's
5,
ridiculous.
6
Yeah. Carol.
I just didn't catch what Mark said about the separate school.
The French or English? No, the English. Oh, yes, the English separate school trustee has been acclaimed, and that is Robin Garvey-Wiseman. Yeah.
Okay. And Mark, could you tell us, just for everybody out there, obviously the election is October 27th, but we do have 4 advanced polls, and I'm going to test your mind on that one. I know the first one's October the 4th, but you go now.
Okay. Saturday, October 4th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. There's 4 advance votes all at the West Grey office. So Saturday, October 4th, 10 to 5. And then Friday, October 10th from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. Then Wednesday, October 15th from 1 p.m. till 8 p.m. And then lastly, Saturday, October 18th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then, of course, voting day, November 27th from 10 a.m. to p.m. till 8 p.m. except for Rockwood Terrace, which will be open from 1 p.m. till 5 p.m. on voting day.
Okay. Yeah, it's on our website.
The audience.
Any of the audience out there can, in Cyberland, can check that out. Thank you, Adam, for getting that out to them. That's it, Mark? Yes. Okay. Other questions for Mark? Larry, CEO's Deputy Clerk's report, and the first to start off with just your information on the AMO conference.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. I would like to take the opportunity to thank Council for the opportunity to attend the conference, which was this year held in London from the 17th to the 20th. Able to attend a number of excellent speakers, able to hear the Premier's speech to the political end of things at the municipal level, attended the annual Ministers Forum, which is always a nice scrum and known as the Bear Pit. It was very interesting. We attended a delegation with the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry, and a copy of the program is available for anyone interested in seeing the events that were available to the attendees at that conference. So I'd like to thank Council for that and just advise Council that information, or is for information. The second item on my agenda is the potential strategic partnership with neighboring communities. Once again, when I arrived here, I indicated that I would work diligently to try and create some significant strategic partnerships with our neighbors where we can share resources and provide additional service wherever possible to the municipality. One, we discussed tonight the potential for the joint submission or the expression of interest for the joint submission in regards to gas and broadband. We've also talked other opportunities, including the 4 local communities being Chatsworth, Grey Highlands, ourselves, and Southgate. Have also talked about sharing other services, and as those kind of round out or come to fruition, I'll bring that back to council for their information. We have talked, for example, about fire prevention, health and safety, additional inspection services for building, that sort of thing, and we continue to talk and work together wherever possible. So that's just for the information of council. The verbal update that I indicated in there was the discussion we had during the BCF SCF funding process, so that is for council information. And the last item on my report is the 2014 Pay Equity and Staff Remuneration Review. The successful candidate has been notified. Our first meeting was held Friday afternoon. We're moving forward with that, and it's anticipated that they will be before council with a presentation, hopefully within the next month, to bring council up to speed and keep working. And I shall endeavor to keep council appraised of the progress being made by the consultants as they continue their work to bring these 2 plans up to date for the municipality. So those are the 3 items that I have at this point in time, Your Worship, and I'm open for questions should council have any.
Any questions for Larry on that? Just the one thing that you brought up about the AMO conference, yes, it was, I think we've expressed that, it was a very good conference, and you brought up about the Bear Pit session, and they took 21 questions at the Bear Pit session, and I was number 22, so I was left standing at the microphone.
Standing at the altar.
Well, the last time I was there, I kind of got scolded, so I don't know, maybe this time they just decided they didn't want to hear my question, Nigel. But anyways, yeah, excellent forum, and next year's AMO conference, Niagara?
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's down in Niagara for next year's conference, so get that ready for any of the other councillors that are coming forward for next year. Okay. All right. Well, if there's no other questions then for our CEO, after his reports and information, brings us down to bylaws, and we have 3 bylaws this evening. Mark's going to hand out the resolutions, then we can get on to those 3 bylaws. Excuse me, the first one that we have is bylaw number 67, which is to appoint a fire chief. I have a motion moved by John Eccles and seconded by Rob Thompson. Be it resolved that bylaw number 67, 2014, being a bylaw to appoint a fire chief for the Elmwood Fire Department, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the CEO, deputy clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Is there any questions or comments on this motion? Deputy Mayor Bell. John.
Mr. Mayor, just wondering if one of our fire committee members from the Joint Fire Board in Elmwood, could they tell me in the interim, how's that worded? The interim fire chief, now that he goes to fire chief, what that does as far as his increase in pay goes? Or any other expenses forthcoming to the municipality of West Grey?
It doesn't. His salary is divided because Elmwood is a much smaller department than his full-time position in Brockton. It is divided and agreed upon, and he has a contract with West Grey for his pay for that position.
If I might, one more question. I saw in the minutes of a couple of reports that Chief Swartz was supposed to deliver some literature to him as far as health and safety items go for the Joint Fire Board. Was that all accomplished? And
Yes, it has been. There's been some confusion because Brockton has in their operating and standard bylaws, or operating and what's the procedures and operating procedures book, they have fire under that. We do not. Our fire is a separate entity, and that's where the confusion was coming in. But they have now received, I believe, what they need, and we'll go from there.
so there's one last point, everybody's going to be able to play nice in the sandbox and everybody's going to get along?
Next question.
Yeah, okay. Are the two chiefs going to be able to get along? Let's put it that way.
I think that if they are professional, which I hope they are, then I believe they will. I don't think there's been any issues so far. They have had a couple of meetings and
Good.
are, working together. The concern was that with the West Grace Fire Chief was that he did not want to take on another department, and I believe that was sort of how he was interpreting some of the minutes of the meeting, which was not the case at all. Maybe he was just misreading them, but
Okay.
that has been straightened up. I've had a meeting with him, and they will work together.
I'm glad to hear it. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions on the bylaw? So the rate of remuneration will stay the same?
There's been
At what that contract?
no request, and the contract is in effect until next time we renew.
Which I believe, a 5-year renewal on that contract?
I'm not sure.
I think it is. I think it's a 20-year contract with a five-year renewal.
I think we're agreeing, but anyway.
No, okay. Yeah, I hope I'm dreaming. Takes 5 years to renew them. Okay, any other questions on this? Call the question then. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. All right. Bylaw number 68 is our bylaw on the maintenance service agreement on our connecting link on Highway 6 in the Municipality of Durham. I believe that was the one that Ken was speaking of. I have a motion moved by Dave Molson and seconded by Bev Cutting. Be it resolved that bylaw number 68, 2014, being a bylaw to enter into a maintenance service agreement with the Integrated Maintenance and Operation Services, Inc., IMOS, operating under the name of Owen Sound Highway Maintenance Limited, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the CEO, deputy clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Any questions or comments on this? Deputy Mayor Bell. John?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I thought I saw in here, and now I can't find it, where they want a 4% increase on this every year.
That's about what it is right now.
It's good for 2 years, and I think it's laid out there. I don't believe it's 4%. Ken had mentioned that it was about $400.
That's
4% of 10 grand is 400, but, okay. 4% of 10 grand is 400. I thought it said in here 4%. I thought I read that. Now I can't find it. Okay, I stand corrected.
I didn't see the percentage. I just, Ken had worked it out, and he said it's about $400. And with the price of fuel and inputs, the way they've gone up.
Under payments? That's the only thing that's there.
Okay. God, I thought I saw that. Okay,
So yeah, that's what it'll be is.
carry on.
You're
Okay.
correct, it is about that, but, so it's set for the next 2 years anyways. It's a 2-year contract this time.
All right, thank you.
Okay? Any other questions or comments? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay, Mark? Okay, and the next one is bylaw number 69. It's an appointment bylaw. Mark, did you want to speak before we introduce it?
Yes,
Go ahead.
Sure. Councillor Lawrence had requested, the only change basically in this bylaw is Shelby Lowther and Tammy Lowther, if I'm pronouncing it right, have been removed from the Newstead Recreation Advisory Committee and then placed on the volunteer subcommittee. That's the only change here, but I did keep the previous bylaw similar to this with the same, just work better in terms of preparing the bylaw.
Okay. Yes, this is one that we review pretty much on a monthly basis as people move around on our volunteer groups. And I'd like to say it's glad that we add volunteers for the most part. That's the good part about it. Okay, so I have a motion moved by Don B. Marshall and seconded by John A. Bell. Be it resolved that bylaw number 69, 2014, being a bylaw to further amend bylaw number 12, 2014, and to repeal bylaw number 50, 2014, be now read a first, second, and third time. Passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the CEO, deputy clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Any questions or comments on this bylaw? All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. There we are, Mark. That's it for bylaws, Mark. New business. Mark, what do you have for us?
I did receive a request a little while ago from Donna Murphy to place on the council agenda issue surrounding a noise complaint that the West Grey Police responded to, and unfortunately she didn't get the letter to me until Friday, but I had indicated I could include it with tonight's agenda, so I've provided a copy for council's review and direction.
Well, I got 3 left, so I don't know where they're going here. I'd like to share them, I guess. I got the extra ones sitting that way. They got them already. Oh, they've got them already? Just after. No, sorry. Deputy Mayor Bell. John?
Well, I really think there's maybe a few things that we don't know about this one, maybe, Mr. Mayor. I think it should be referred to the Police Services Board.
There's nothing to do with us.
No.
So with that, I strongly suggest it probably does without speaking about this here tonight.
Okay. Do you want that done by direction or? Direction. Yep. Unless somebody else has any further comment on it, I think
we should go back to you.
Looking at it, send it, yep. Just that we'll give it to the police services and have police services look at it. Probably something that would go to the chief, as it looks as more of an operational thing. I don't know just even what the board can do with it, but we'll have it for the next direction's been given, and if council's fine with that, that's where we're going to see it go to. Okay? All right, thank you, Mark. Any other new business?
Not for me.
Nothing? Any other council member have new business? Or Larry? Sorry. Other staff, the deputy clerk, CEO, does he have new business?
Yes, sir, Your
Adams?
Worship. I received an email from Nick Kalila from the Ministry of Energy. If you recall, they were one of the delegation requests that we made. At the time, they were unable to accommodate our request at the AMO conference, but they did indicate that they are willing to meet with the municipality should we wish to discuss with staff. Management from the Environmental Improvement Branch would be pleased to meet with the municipality. They're suggesting a meeting in early October, and I'm just looking for direction in regards to if we are interested, and do we have any potential dates that I can send back to the Ministry of Energy and the staff members that they would send to meet with us, Your Worship.
Yeah. When's the election? It's in October, Bev.
At the end, but was it not MNR that sent that?
We actually attended a delegation with the MNR. We made a delegation request to the Ministry of Energy to discuss
Okay.
ERT and industrial wind turbines and that sort of thing with them. They advised that they were unable to meet with us at AMO, but they would offer to have staff meet with us post the AMO conference. This is the follow-up email from them indicating that they would be willing to meet with us. If we would like to pick a date, they'll try to accommodate our request to meet with us.
The email.
Yeah, council and or, I think they're looking for the delegation of council staff to meet with their staff. Well, I don't think they want us to go to Toronto. Am I not mistaken on that, Larry?
Well, I would imagine it's right.
Or are they coming up to see us, which
I suggest that we offer this some date and offer them a venue in this locale if they would be interested in coming this way. I'm sure, as you've indicated, the response would be, no, you will come down to see us in Toronto, but at least we could offer the branch to start with would be a good first move, I would think, Your Worship.
their staff are usually supplied with vehicles. They can make it out of the city once a year. Would be very nice. We have do a fall color tour in West Grey. We have a council meeting on October the 6th. Is that an option to throw at them? As them as a delegate, yeah, inviting them right to council.
Too controversial for them.
Worth a try? If not, they'll get back to us quickly, and by October the 6th, we'll find out.
What about the committee of the whole on the last day of September?
Committee of the Whole is getting fairly full right now, John. We could be here until... No. No. It's, yeah, that's a heavy agenda already. With the library board in the meeting, it's library, what was it, 11 o'clock? Committee of the Whole was to be at 1, and
Public health, Your Worth.
the health unit is
Yeah,
coming.
health unit, yeah.
That community discussion
Conversation.
that they wanted to have with us, so we've moved that to 11 o'clock. Yes, yeah. Yeah, it'll be starting at 11 then, instead of the 1, and or maybe something else coming ahead of that even too. So, no, Committee of the Whole. Let's leave it for council. It's a day meeting. As of right now, Mark's indicating it shouldn't be a heavy meeting. So if it's even sometime after lunch, we could stay around and have that if they couldn't be here early in the morning for the delegation. So Mark, do you want to follow up, or Larry, with Mr. Coletta?
Your Worship, it would be my pleasure, and I'll get a time from the clerk, and we'll work to put something together. They're also requesting more detailed information and references to my, they only allowed me 3 lines electronically to submit things, so I crammed as much as I could in, so I'll elaborate somewhat on that, and based on the direction that I received to set that meeting up. So I will get back to them and see what they say. Would we offer a second opportunity to meet with them other than that day, as I'm anticipating the response will be come see us in the bright warm city?
What is the,
Go ahead, Bev.
what are the items that we're wanting to discuss with them?
The operations of the Environmental Review Tribunal, the current status of the industrial wind turbines, the issues that we've currently had with the individual we've been working with here in West Grey, and those were the 3 primary subjects that I put forward.
Then I believe that they should make the effort to come here. I don't think we need to trounce down to the city. I think they need to trounce up here and see exactly where all this is going on. So I would suggest we give them another date.
Problem with getting another date. Well, I guess we got one more council meeting, so throw in the other council meeting. I would suggest that.
Or, I mean, this is very, very important. So if we
Absolutely.
need to have another meeting, doesn't have to be a council meeting, if we need to have a special meeting to meet with these people to get up here, get a date from them that they can come and we'll be here. I would say it that way, as opposed to just giving them like a couple of council dates. That we need this discussion. So whatever day they can get here, we'll be here. Unless it's, a few days that I can't be.
I wondered which one of those ones was going to come out, Councillor Cuddy. Yeah, it is very important, but I would suggest those 2 dates, and if they don't work, can they have a date that they could come up and meet with us and see if we can work with it?
If it's during council, are we going to have enough time and enough discussion and enough et cetera for, this sounds to me like a 4 or 5 hour meeting. This is not an hour.
Well, if you think you're going to get talking to ministry staff for 4 or 5 hours.
Well, if they come up
Yes.
here,
Yeah,
we'll have a
put them
better
up.
chance of
Corner them for
snagging
an
them
hour
in
and a
this
half.
room, yes.
Yeah.
Than us going down and them going, well, thank you very much, here's your coffee, get out, which is what they do. So let's,
Well, that's why I was suggesting the October 6th and after lunch, so we could be here all afternoon talking to them.
okay, so council
the
is only
second
proposed to
date,
go
though?
till noon?
Yep.
Make your meeting at 1 or
Yeah.
1:30.
Be
What
part
second,
of council, but put it in as a part of council and
Okay, as long as
And
it's
run
a
it
block of good time, that's all I'm saying.
what second date are you suggesting?
well, I would suggest because we're here, have it on that, on the council date, but have it at 3 o'clock in the afternoon or 2:30 on that council date. On the second one, which would,
20th, you mean?
is that the 20th of October
Yeah.
is the next, yeah.
And if they can't do either of those, I'd suggest they give us dates and we'll
That they could meet us
see
here.
what we can do, yeah.
Is that fine with the rest of council? May give us some relief from campaigning up to the 27th. Not that it affects 2 people very heavily. Okay? You fine with that, Larry? Good advice? Okay. Any other new business? This when we're down to addendums or notice of motion, direct motions. Mark doesn't have any at this point in time. Don't know of any. No more I don't think we have any closed sessions now. That brings us down to question period.
Good luck, everybody, on October 27th.
Thank you. I hope in the last few minutes we've given you enough information to report back.
Pretty much.
Municipal Act notices, Mark? None at this point in time. Then I'll take a motion to adjourn. Mr. Mollison, do you have number 20? You do. I'll accept that. Dave moves that we stand adjourned. Thank you very much.
Aye.